All right, guys, what is going on? What's good? What's Gucci gang? Today is Monday, July 10th, 2023. And we are live right here on YouTube. And the chat is anyone today. You guys already know we got to do our sound check. Give me a thumbs up if we're good to go. If you guys can hear me, if all is well, let me know. What's good? Willow, Tiago, Naruto, Mr. Lasco, Katarina, Max, and Marwin. What up, man? What's going on? How's everyone doing? Did you have a good weekend? I had a great weekend. I probably gained like, I don't know, 3 or 4 pounds, all the food I ate. So we're gonna not talk about it, but we are gonna talk about the markets though, I'll tell you that. For this afternoon. Oh yeah, that's one more thing too. I did change the colors yet again. So I have asked you, or the chat rather, what color scheme you guys like, what color scheme you prefer. Me personally, I thought the green and red is easier to teach with because it's a little bit more distinctive. Now, someone, I forgot who it was, but someone did reach out, and I think it was a comment on YouTube, and they said that they wanted to go back. I call this calm. You know, whatever you want to call it, black and white, gray, whatever. I just call it calm. So they asked to go back to this, and that I guess they were getting a headache from the green and red candlesticks. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's what they said. So I wanted to ask you guys here on the live chat, and where a lot of the community is, to see what you guys wanted to do. Did you guys want to keep the green and red candlesticks, or did you want to swap back over to the calm, which is what you see here, the gray and white candlesticks? What do you guys prefer? And I'll go with the majority vote. Okay, that's how we do it. That I think is fair. Majority rules, right? Unlike in America, these votes actually count here on my YouTube channel. Okay, so whatever the majority is what we'll go with. I guess if I had to say, I do think the green and red candlesticks go with the theme more so than the gray. You know, the whole sniper idea and whatever, but hey, I will listen to the people, okay? Unlike a lot of leaders in this industry, I will listen to my people. All right, yeah, we're taking shots today. I'm fucking making fun of everybody today. I woke up and chose violence. Okay? And if y'all saw my Instagram story, you know what I'm talking about. And I wouldn't have said anything, but the guy had commented back. I'm like, all right, bro, now I gotta roast you. And I have a much, much larger following than you do. So, hey. You mess with the wrong one. Okay? I might be number 2 because I'm not the one to fuck with. You know what I'm saying? How about that? Camouflage candles. All right, I don't know about that one. I do not know about that one. What's good, Jesse? Millie? Jada? Charlie? Brian? Jonathan says blue and black. Blue and black. I don't know about that. That was not an answer choice, my friend. It's either going to be green and red candlesticks with the slightly yellowish, like a cream kind of background, or the gray and white, which is what you see here. The last, I don't know, couple months or so, I brought out the green and red. I thought you guys would appreciate that. I thought you would appreciate it. Damn it. But you guys don't. Y'all want the calm back. All right. Fine. Red and blue. What is this? The 4th of July, Marwin? I don't know. But what I do know is I think S&P is going to trade higher. That's what I think. I think the Dow is going to lead to the upside. I think we may... What high is that from? See, I did all my analysis on my red candlesticks on my other one, and we have no markups over here. So you guys are fucking me up, man. Anyway, 34,167 is our morning high. I think that's going to be obliterated. Easy. Dow's our leader to the upside. Nasdaq is pure dog shit. Absolute horrendous. Oh, of course. And I mark up the micros instead. See what happens when you change your chart colors? You mark up the wrong shit. What's good, Andreas? What's good? But yeah, I think we're going to trade higher. I did tweet earlier. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. You guys know how we do things around here. Give me 2 seconds. I might have copied it already, but I'll do it again. Okay. So that right there. Indices at an interesting place today, mixed lows. So what does that tell you? Well, my friend, that means we have mixed lows. Okay. And what that also means is that if I'm telling you that there's mixed lows in here, that there could be something worth noting. If I can find my live stream, I always forget where to put it. So if the timeline is correct, just like with what I did on British Pound, how I walked that bitch down. Well, if I can do the same thing with the indices, that is the bias that I'm going with. And let me give you a few reasons why and what would be problematic otherwise, okay? Here's the thing. If you go to a 1 minute, all right? What's good, Nikki? If you go to a 1 minute time frame, we have some equal lows or equal highs, excuse me, at 44.47. Okay. Now I was watching that earlier today and I'm going, okay, I'll probably target that. And I didn't long, and I'm glad I didn't, because I would have got wrecked. So I go out to a 5 minute and I'm like, okay, well, obviously I did something wrong. And you know, what did I do wrong? Well, there's a few things in here. So if we actually look at it, we do have a textbook 44.11 low resistant lows. We also have some very, very identical lows at 44.22. Well, 23 if you round up. So really the only problem that I have with wanting to go long is that the liquidity here was not taken. Now, you guys already know it doesn't always have to be. Lows can be left open, highs can be left open. It doesn't need to do that. Okay? But it did take our open stock exchange openness here. So it did take a short-term low, and then during lunch it ran both of those lows. Now that to me right there is good enough. Okay? Mediocrities. Like, I don't know if you guys get that or not, but good enough is a quote from Mediocrities. But anyway, if you're not into stoicism or philosophy, you're not going to get it. It's okay. I got lame jokes. I understand. With that being said, this I think is going to be the low. But if I'm wrong, that's why. Okay, if I'm wrong, that's why. We have liquidity at some downside levels. Now, if I'm right, then the reasoning for that is if we take everything off and if we go to the daily, and again, this is the micros, I'd rather I'd really rather look at ES, but it's cool. If you look at the daily time frame here, we are at the middle of this range, which is going to be a little bit wonky. All right. But those black lines that you saw on my chart, that's where those black lines are coming from, okay? Those two black lines are this gap right here from the close of Wednesday the 28th and the open of June 29th. So that gap right there, I have outlined. And so what we did, I know it might be a little bit hard to see, but if you take everything off, if you can imagine for a second this line right here. So today we have came down, at least in the electronic side, not in regular trading hours, but in the electronic hours, we did come down to essentially fill in that gap. So to me, it's like, okay, well, you got some price rebalance on the daily there. Okay. So now does it make a little bit more sense? And I'm going to take my tweet off of here just a minute. I don't want to keep that up here. They always take up too much fucking room. But this movement in here was it prior to London and during London. So do you see why? Does that make sense? Does it make sense? And I don't give broker recommendations. Yeah, I get it, Charlie, but it's all right. I'll redo them here. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. So because we traded into that on the daily, we got a reaction, we left some highs. It's like, okay, well, we took liquidity on the downside. Afternoon session, I think, is going to be bullish. I think so. If we look at the Nasdaq, okay, look at this. What did the Nasdaq do? You want to know. Okay, you want to know. Man, John, I wish I could fucking tweet at the lows too. Right. Well, it's not always about that. But what I'm saying is, if you look, I tweeted at 11:05. So it probably took a minute or two for me to actually look at it. But if you look at it, what's going on here? We have a low. Here's London's low. Okay. At 11:05, when I tweeted, we see that the S&P is higher, right? The S&P is higher. Okay. What's the Nasdaq doing at 11:05? Oh, actually 11:05 is this candle right here. It's lower, right? What did I teach you on Wednesday and Friday of last week? What did we look at? Now those videos are now, or streams rather, those streams are now member only, of course. Because I went back and I realized that there was a lot of shit going on. So I went ahead and made that member only. But I taught you this, right? It was literally the same setup. We saw what? The S&P trading higher as the Nasdaq was lower, right? So you see that same phenomenon here. The Nasdaq is running lows. At the same time, the S&P is higher. So that shows you accumulation, yes? Oh, okay. So when you see that, that's when you can tweet, right? Look like a badass. How to be a badass 101, all right? So what do you do with that information? Well, do you just straight up buy that? You can. You can, but I would rather not. I would rather allow myself to let the low be set, call the low, okay? Look cool on social media, whatever. But we got to make some fucking money, okay? And being cool on social media is probably not going to make you some money, okay? So what I would do is go, okay, well, our low's probably been set, so now we can try to play some order flow up to the highs, if that's where we think it's going to go. But I did say Dow, I think, is the leader, okay? You notice how here's our 830 candle. Here's our stock exchange candle, right? The Dow never, look at S&P. The S&P did run those lows, right? But the Dow did not. So it's like, to me, Dow's under heavy accumulation. And there's one of the stocks must be banging right now. I really don't know because I haven't looked at it. But one of them's got to be banging. Amgen, Walgreens, yuck. Intel, yuck. All right. So not really. But there's only Microsoft is down a little bit. That helps explains why the Nasdaq is weak today. Verizon and Apple, all right, they're down, so that makes sense. Nasdaq is tech heavy anyway. But the Dow, Amgen, Walmart, Intel, Home Depot, Nike, Caterpillar, Walmart. I don't know what this is. Merck and Company, whoever that is. All right, whatever. And McDonald's all over 1%. So the Dow is leading today. If we look at the net, this is probably going to be red. Yeah, see Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, all down. Actually, flip that. They're down. Now, PayPal and some other shit might be up, but I'm pretty sure the weight is more so in Google, Amazon, Microsoft. So because I think it's weighted differently, those stocks are going to mean more than the others. So not every stock is created equal, okay? So there's that. So you see the strength and weakness in the stocks. You see it in the indices. You have your storyline. You have your levels of liquidity. Now you just got to time it correctly. And that's it. What's good, Allie? What's good, Sergio and Paul? But yes, you were right. The divergence is what we talked about. So right now, I think it is hard to say where the entry would be at the moment. We're only 20 minutes in the afternoon session. I didn't get the greatest sleep in the world last night. I don't know why. I just didn't. And, you know, I'm not as sharp today as I would otherwise usually try to be. But those are my thoughts for today. And having the fucking extra lights on is not helping with the heat. Just so you know. But it's cool, man. It's cool. When are you releasing the liquidity video? Well, I got to make it first. So the thing that I do, Charlie, the problem that I have is I always make a bunch of presentations, but some of them I just never even finish, or I'll never record, and then they'll just get lost in the abyss. So, I mean, I have presentations I made like fucking 2018, 2019. I never released. So I have an issue with that. But I did work on that video, the content at least for that liquidity video. You see, the thing is, Charlie, here, let me try to explain something to you real quick before we move on to any other topics. The thing is, let me put our member goal up here too. We are at 127 as of today. The thing is, bro, when I first started teaching, what's good, Leon? I mean, it was cool, right? I didn't really learn to love it until later. But I ran into a problem when people kept asking me the same questions over and over again. What's good, Keith? People kept asking me the same questions. What is liquidity? What is this? What is the down candle? What's an imbalance? What is X, Y, and Z? Okay. And also, it doesn't help when you're the only one who teaches a certain concept. Okay. Like when I first joined, you know, my last venture, I brought in a lot of shit. I was the only one who knew about all that shit. So I was the only one teaching it. So of course, where do people go to? They're going to go to the one who taught it, right? So a lot of people are coming to me and they're asking the same questions. And I'm like, I don't want to keep streaming the same shit over and over again. I don't want to keep talking about mitigations. I don't want to keep talking about imbalances, right? I didn't want to keep repeating myself. So that's why I had more sessions than anybody else, because I was saving the content that I didn't want to redo. Okay. So with YouTube, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to be able to make one video one time and let that be the standard for that particular concept. So when I talk to you about liquidity, and here's a thing that other teachers do, which I absolutely despise, okay, is you can expand on a particular subject quite substantially. So like, for example, I can show you what an imbalance is in a couple minutes. I can show you, hey, it's a single candle, separates two areas of price action, you know, XYZ, and that's it. And that would be enough for an introduction, right? But then that lesson would be incomplete in my opinion, because there are other things about imbalances that you need to know, right? Like confluence or timing or top down or refinement or whatever. And that's the problem that I have is, or with other educators, is that they don't include that. So they will, you know, not have a full complete presentation, and maybe they hold back, maybe they don't. I don't know. But when they do that, that bothers me. So what I want, again, coming back to my point, is I want to make a video on a particular subject where I don't have to go back and make a part 2 or a part 3 unless I want to. So I'm not just going to show you, oh yeah, there's liquidity below equal lows and above equal highs, and that's it. Like, bro, that's barely scratching the surface. You need to understand like electronic trading hours, regular trading hours. You need to understand, you know, previous day high and low, previous session high and low, intraday high and low, previous week high and low, previous month high and low, previous quarter high and low, you know, and a little bit more to it than that. Not just equal highs, but low resistant highs, equal lows, low resistant lows. And it's like, okay, you're working with a lot of information, right? And it's being able to piece that together and really give you a solid foundation. And so the lesson has to be more than just introductory. And that's why it takes a while for me to put something like that together and then shoot it and then edit it and then upload it. It's not a lot of work per se, but I take my time because I want to make sure it's good. Because once I put it out, it's going to stay out. And I would rather have quality than quantity. Okay. So that's why it's taken, you know, a while. And I hope you can understand. Knee pain. I don't know what to tell you there. Thanks, Keith. Your teaching is fire. I appreciate that. Trading. I don't trade Sundays, but hey, you know, to each their own. I'm not going to knock you for it. If we look at SPY, those same equal highs are there, but it is hard to say on a daily time frame. The gap is different. The 29th is here. We actually traded into that on the 6th, and then we're here again today. And Friday looks like horrendous because we filled in that other gap too. So it's like we filled this gap on the downside. We didn't fill the gap entirely, but we did trade to the bodies of these candles. So with today, it's hard to say. It's a little bit lower probability in my opinion. I mean, we'll still try and see if we can find something, but Monday, I will probably press the brakes today. But, you know, I want to come on here. I want to give you guys something to work with. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And you guys know that sometimes I'm more confident on other days, and certain days I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't know. So I've outlined what I think is going to happen, and I've outlined why, if that doesn't work, I would be wrong. Like I've given you a reason why I would be wrong on that. Does that make sense? So it's like, okay, well, do you trust the accumulation? I usually do, but you have a fucking gap here too. And it's like, well, all right. Well, if we come back to that low, now it's going to look like it's gunning for those equal lows. So now I don't want to be long in that either. It's like, well, all right. Well, then what? All right, well, let's wait for a break of structure and then see if this is a mitigation. All right, well, you could do that. And then you also face the problem of, well, if it doesn't do that, if it just keeps going and then takes the highs, well, now your target's been hit and you're not in a trade. So then what? Beats me. Maybe you do nothing then. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. I know what you guys want. You want to come on here and you want me to fucking give you a trade idea so you can make some money. I know that. I'm not stupid. Okay? I might hold back things I say, but I'm not fucking retarded. All right? Sometimes I might get stopped out at the low. That might be retarded. But I'm not dumb, okay? I know what you guys want. You want me to try and give you some trades so you can take and try and, have your account fucking do backflips. Well, this isn't ballerina class, okay? This isn't gymnastics. This is, let's try and make some money over a long period of time. What is slow will grow, okay? I got you, didn't I? Some of y'all are like, damn, you got me. Good for you, Jada. Here for the knowledge. Well, I'm here to give it to you. Sometimes I'll be right. Sometimes I'll be wrong. And sometimes I won't have anything. Sometimes I won't have shit. But yeah, so what we'll do, we haven't done this in a couple of days. We'll put an alert, set some alerts. We marked up the micro, so we might as well put the fucking micros up there. We have consolidated for now, which hasn't shown a strong willingness. But again, I'm still favoring upside. And oh God, the dollar. Jeez. The dollar, goodbye. With the dollar tanking like this, that also will likely contribute to higher indices. Thursday, June 22nd, 101.92 is going to be a low for the dollar on a daily time frame. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That looks like it's going to be on the table. So probably higher euro, higher British pound probably. And with, I mean, I don't know if that's going to hit today. I don't know. But I'm saying if we are bearish on the dollar, then that will likely contribute to higher indices. So there's your intermarket. There's your justification. There's your storyline. I tweeted it for you down here. I mean, fuck. You want to talk about fucking legwork, bro? Let's talk about it. What more do you need, family? What more do you need? Oh, Charlie, great point. Speaking of news, I had this up here. I just totally forgot about it. I'm like Epictetus, man. I never write shit down. More about that on my story probably tomorrow. As far as the news goes, we don't have anything today. This is already coming past. Tomorrow, claimant count. I don't even know what that is. I don't even think I've ever heard of that. The cash rate tomorrow evening for New Zealand. Wednesday, CPI. That'll be interesting. 7:30. I'll be asleep, but I know that there's definitely going to be some volatility there. Thursday, PPI as well. Same time, 7:30. Always when I'm sleeping. And then I guess consumer sentiment on Friday. So I think today's going to be a good day to trade. I think, well, not financial advice, but I think today's probably a decent day. Tomorrow, I think is going to be a decent day. Wednesday, probably not until after CPI. Okay, probably not until after CPI, post CPI. All right. Now, what I would do here is be mindful. All right, we did hit this imbalance here. So we have an imbalance above a recent high. Okay, so that might be problematic for longs. Okay. Now, if we are bullish, though, what we would want to see is obviously a push above that to get to these highs. So again, we've met some liquidity. We met an imbalance above a level of liquidity. So you can always probably expect a reaction of some sort. I also recently taught about taking partials to member videos or in a membership video. And well, that is a decent idea. If you're long from down here or this imbalance here, like that is a good partial. Even if you think it's going to rally up here, that's still a good partial. But when you are bullish, you want to see bearish concepts disrespected, right? And so we'll see. We'll have to see how it goes. And as far as a 15-minute, I don't know. So we'll see. We'll have to give it some time. No trade ideas, only analysis. I like it. Well, I'm not going to pull the trigger on anything until it's high probability, but I'm just not feeling, I'm not getting vibes that I should put money on this long, is what I'm saying. Shit, if anything, I wanted it earlier, but I guess wasn't awake enough. I wasn't alert enough to see the bearishness because there was some really good opportunities on small time frame, especially the Nasdaq. Oh my God, the Nasdaq, dude. Beautiful shorts this morning. I mean, just delicious. I mean, dude. I mean, look at this. If you study liquidity, right? You have these lows down here. It's like, okay, well, the Dow is our leader. The Nasdaq is our laggard. And if you were able to identify that in the morning, we have ugly consolidation here. We do rally short-term highs. We drop down. We rally mitigation right there, straight down to liquidity like this right here. Beautiful. And this would actually be very close, if not actually identical to the mitigation model that I teach you guys right here. So that would have been solid. But I wasn't looking for shorts. I was looking for higher pricing. And of course, we got the small time frame equal highs, and then we gave it up and went lower. I'm like, all right, well shit, and I gotta wait. And so right now I'm waiting, right? What am I waiting for? Well, a high probability setup to go long. But if I don't get that, then there's no trade to take. Now, if I really wanted to, if we end up just dumping lower, then it's like, okay, maybe I should switch my bias. I think Charlie asked about that last week. How can you do that? How can you switch your bias? Well, if you're wrong, if I'm wrong about these highs being swept and it's going to go lower, then I need to fix myself. You're either going to be onside the market or offside. And if you have a bias, but that bias has been confirmed wrong, you're on the wrong side. Okay? You're on the wrong side. You got to get on the right side. And it is hard to do. It's also an ego thing too. Okay? You have to humble yourself. You have to admit to yourself that, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not bullish anymore. Maybe I shouldn't be bullish. I've been proven wrong. And that's hard for some people because you want to be right. You want to be right. You want to get entries. Like, no ego, but the way that I do sometimes, we get in at the low. Like, that's what you want. And I know that. Okay? And that's why I'm trying to teach it to you. But a big part of not just growing up as, like, not just increasing your maturity, right? Being more mature with yourself and others, you know, that's going to serve you in the market as well. Okay? It's hard to admit to yourself that you're wrong for some people. A lot of people don't like to admit when they're wrong. And that's why I roast people sometimes on Instagram when they say some stupid ass shit. And then I call you out on it and you want to act retarded. You don't need books, bro. Well, why do you have a Bible verse in your description then? Is the Bible not a book? Idiot. You know, like, that's just so stupid to me. And again, it's just an ego thing, right? That guy has an ego problem. He got called down on his bullshit. He got butthurt about it because he's immature. Now, sure, you could argue, well, John, you know, it's pretty immature to roast people. You're right. You're right. You're definitely right. But you know what? The fucking people love it. I tell you that. You know how many people sent me the laugh emoji today? A lot. Okay. I do it for the people. All right. That's who I do it for. But should I do those things? Probably not. In all reality, I probably shouldn't do those things. But you guys condone fucked up behavior. You know, if you thought it was funny, but you don't want me to do it, then don't tell me that you think it's funny. Okay? And I'll stop doing it. But you know, it's like Gladiator, man. And the people are cheering me on. What was his name? Maximus. Maximus the Merciful. Maximus, right? Egging him on because they're cheering for him, right? Shit. It's like you guys are saying, John Phipp, you know, by egging me on, saying, yeah, this shit is funny. I serve the people the best way I can. All right? You want me to teach you some shit? I'll teach you some shit. You want me to entertain you? All right, I might. But I'm always for the people. You guys know that. People over profits, baby. People over profits lifestyle. Get with it. Or get the fuck out of here. But anyway. Can we look at gold? We'll look at gold. It's highly manipulated today, though. I looked at it already earlier. When you analyze your trade on the daily, at what point do you switch to the 1 minute? I never take a trade just off the daily unless it's a stock or like a stock option. I'll do that. But am I going to trade futures solely off the daily time frame? Absolutely not. The risk is too much for me. The reason that we go to small time frames is to minimize the risk. Okay? That's why. And that's why, again, I keep saying that when we see manipulation, I would rather wait for the low to be set and then prove it wants to go higher or lower and then play that next retracement, because you're getting in alignment with price, but you're minimizing the risk. Like for Nasdaq, for example, I could have went in here and bought that low at 11:05. That's when I tweeted, right? I tweeted that. I could have just straight up bought that low. But where's my stop going to be? I don't have shit to reference over here. I don't have shit. So it could have ran lower and my face would have been ripped off. Or I could say, you know what? I'll wait for that to be set. It rallies. And then I didn't do this today, but in other instances like the S&P, it would trade into that imbalance. And it's like, okay, well, now my risk is more defined because now I have an imbalance to enter on. I can put my stop at this low and that's more defined. You know what I'm saying? Versus it could keep going. And that's why I don't do that anymore. Okay. Like S&P, for example, when I tweeted here, I could have eaten, this was right in the middle of lunch, so I didn't do it. But there's an imbalance here. It's the same idea I just showed you on Nasdaq, right? It's more defined. 44.31 entry, stop at 44.23. That's about 8 points or so. It's more defined. See what I'm saying? So to be honest, I really do not care for consolidation like this. I really don't. Because if it were me, I would probably want to run some lows and then run higher. You know what I'm saying? If I was making this market, that's probably what I would do. Make it go higher, make people think it's in an uptrend, rip to the downside to get everybody's trailing stop, and then pump that bitch higher for anyone who was short in the morning. That's essentially the idea, right? So, again, you can be bullish or bearish. It's your account. It's your demo account. You do what you want to do. But if you're here to get my bias, that's what I would like to see. Trade through this imbalance, maybe even back into it, and then run. And if I had to say for an ultimate target, if we are bullish, I'd say 44.50 is probably pretty solid. 50 level, above equal highs, not bad. That's what I think. So I'm going to put an alert there too. Okay? So that's what I think. Now, I don't expect you guys to make a YouTube channel and come out here and give your buys for your friends and family or whatever. I don't expect you to do that. Okay. But what I will tell you is that it does take a degree of, I don't know what the right word is, but it takes a lot for somebody to come out here and, you know, give their bias, because you risk being wrong. You risk looking like a fool if you don't know what you're doing, right? And it would be embarrassing. I mean, imagine if I came on here and I was wrong all the time. Hey guys, I'm bullish, and then it just drops. Hey guys, I'm bearish, and then it just rallies, right? That'd be embarrassing. I'd be embarrassed. Super embarrassed. And I'm not saying that you ever have to do something like that. But again, as far as the maturity goes and the ego goes, you still have to convince yourself this type of stuff, though. You have to convince yourself, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. This is going to prove if I'm wrong. This is going to prove if I'm right. And when you are right, calling the low, watching the order flow, then that's when I think it's okay to enter the market, because you're on side. Okay? Think of it like in football. You could run it up the field, right? You could take it from the QB and run it up the field. You could do that. Or as a quarterback, you can wait for your receiver to go out 5, 10, 15, 20 yards and then pass them the ball, right? Let them get closer to the touchdown. Let them get onside, closer to the goal, and then pass it to them. It's the same idea. You could have bought this low. Or I could wait for my receiver to get upfield. Or maybe even here. See what I'm saying? I got analogies for days, baby. I got all types of analogies. You want lions and gazelles? You want football? You want basketball? What do you want? It's all the same. Yeah. Are you not entertained? Yeah, I love that meme. Or GIF, rather. Don't blame the people for you wanting to rag on people. Yeah, I got to shift the blame, Ellie. You know, it's your fault. It's y'all's fault, right? No, I chose to do it. I haven't done it in a while. But that's only because when someone is disrespectful. Because if he would have admitted like, oh, you know what? You're right. It is ironic that I said don't read books, but I've got a Bible verse in my, bio. And he could have been respectful about it. But he was like, oh, no, whatever. Like, he said some stupid shit. He's probably a fucking hood rat. So there's no surprise there. Those people are fucking ignorant sometimes. But it's okay. Whatever. And because he went out of his way to be ignorant like that, that's when I gotta, what is it? 48 laws of power, crush your enemy completely and just utterly obliterate. That's what I got to do now. You got 600 followers. I have over 9,000. Now I got to roast you. So yeah, it's just, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? Now, maybe I've been ironic before too. I've probably said some dumb shit before. Some people have called me out before too. And now that I'm a little bit more mature than I was, I go, you know what? You're right. Siva calls me out all the time for drinking energy drinks. All the time. All the time. I'm like, you know what? I probably should stop drinking energy drinks. You're right. I should. Probably not going to, but I probably should. But I'm not going to argue that. There's nothing to argue. He's right and I'm wrong. So it's the same idea. And it is confidence, Andreas. I mean, I have 9 years doing this. I haven't been trading like this for a full 9 years, but for quite a while. And I watch markets all day, every day. So I do have a above average level of confidence. I've called bigger trades than anybody you know. Outside of the crypto market, okay? Maybe the stock market too. Jordan's called some bigger trades than me this year. But commodity markets, there's no one who has called bigger trades than me in the last 3 years. You look at orange juice, you don't even want to see that. Okay, coffee dominated that one too. Gold, I called the low like 5 years in a row. You find one person that's done that, you won't find them. Okay, and again, that also gives me confidence too. Now, I didn't try to do those things. I don't try to market that all the time. And plus, it's kind of arrogant anyway. I mean, it's the truth, but it is arrogant though. You know? But then I come in here and like tweet at the low, show you guys some entries, even if it's a paper account. I show you better entries than almost anybody you know as well. So that's where the confidence comes from too. It's like, yeah, I have the ability to do these things. And those abilities, I am doing my best to portray them to you as well. So you can do the same shit. Smash TP on cable longs. Just got here. Cable longs. Ooh, look at that. So again, just like we talked about earlier, I mean, I don't think it's done though. I think this is going to rip. This doesn't make sense to turn from here. I think this is definitely going to rip. It wouldn't make sense for us to just stop at this level and turn. I think we're going to continue. Euro. The euro's the euro. But anyway, with the dollar continuing that, you know, potentially bearish bias, I think British pound's going to keep probably rallying higher. That is my opinion. Okay. All right. So far, that imbalance above this high has set the high. We talked about how these consolidation, we have these lows here. And I said, if we're going to go higher, we'll probably come down for these lows first. Like if we're going to do that. And so it just would make sense for these lows to easily be swept. And that's kind of what I'm watching for at the moment. I'm not even sure what to think about the Dow, to be honest. Nasdaq, same thing. I am really just not sure. So that's what I'll be watching for today. But I don't think we're going to be here the full 3 hours though. I'll tell you that. Probably not going to be. What's good, Paulus? I think that's how you say that. You're right. Well, I do. I mean, I have my water and I have a body armor light. What I'm really trying to do is I reached out to Rain and I'm like, bro, sponsor me. Sponsor me, Rain. I'll have flavor of the day. I'll wear your fucking hat and hoodie. I'll put your logo on my streams. Like, bro, sponsor me. I just want to be sponsored by an energy drink company. And you know, Bang Energy, they lost like a $200 million lawsuit. So, yikes. And guess who they lost to? Monster, right? You know who also is owned by Monster? Besides like Monster Energy drinks? Is Rain. I believe that they are owned or like are a separate section of Monster. So, I'd rather have Rain. And it's plant-based too. I know some of you guys like hug trees and shit. I don't have one next to me, but if you look at the bottom of the cans, they do say that they are plant-based energy. So some of the vegans out there can hopefully appreciate that too. So it's a win-win, man. It is a win-win. Thanks, Allie. I appreciate the comment there. Oh, and you're right. We do got to look at gold. I'm sorry. You can obviously see what it was like for me to be in school. Try to do a bunch of shit. Gold looks like trash. Super trash. The possums are all over this one. I'm still sticking with the overall bullish bias, only because of that daily time frame gap that was traded into there. But you know what the problem is last week we had so many news events last week, and they were all different. I think there was news there. So like one news went higher than lower, another news went lower, then another news went higher. It's like, it's so choppy and back and forth, which is not unheard of for gold. That's practically what I tell you that gold does. And right now, we're in the middle of a current short-term range. We're right in the middle. So if we were at more of an extreme, I'd probably like that. But so far, that daily gap has set our low. That's not surprising. And we did have a pretty deep retracement. And now it's taken off. So, I mean, again, I guess if I had to say, I would say higher. But that's only because of the daily and weekly. That's a weekly gap. And look at the bodies there on that weekly time frame. You see that? Look at that. So I would probably be bullish if I had to say. All right. So 38, 39 people on here, but we've got 51 votes. So that's cool. At least people come in and vote before they leave. I appreciate that. So 51 votes. Look at this 80-20 principle at work. If you know what the 80-20 principle is, 80% for the calm, only 20% for the green red candlesticks. Man. All right. Well, I guess I was wrong too. My bias was red and green for you guys. And you want calm. So we'll go with that. We will go with that. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me, but it doesn't have to make sense. I will do what you want. And Willow, the thing with Monster, number one, is they don't have enough caffeine. Number two, that shit is practically sugar, bro. You know how much sugar is in Monster? A lot. You know how much sugar is in Rain? None. Now, it probably has other stuff in it, but at least it doesn't have sugar. I mean, dude, I like them. I like Rain. The Storm ones, they're smaller, and they're 200 milligrams a can. Now, the big ones, for example, the sherbet one, the white gummy bear, oh my God. White gummy bear. The things I would do for one of those is so delicious. So delicious. It's ridiculous. Like, you know, if somebody came by with a old rusty van and they were like, hey, we got white gummy bear in the back, I'm in. I'm sold. I'm sold. Okay. They're so good, man. Like, it doesn't even make sense. And there's another one I like too. The sherbet one, the white gummy bear, and there's one more. I can't remember. It's in my fridge. I have to go look at it. But don't let me do that because I'll open it and I'll drink it. TP is 1931. Was that for gold? But yeah, the people have spoken. 53 votes. Overwhelming majority. I'll tell you this though, if it was 50-50, I would side with green and red. But it's not even close. It's not 60-40 70-30. It's 80-20. So it's obvious that we have to stick with the calm settings. And that's that. And man, this is also one of those afternoons the markets like to troll me. You know? If we went live in this morning, we'd get some nice movement, right? And then as soon as I fucking go live, we do nothing for an hour. One little movement for 5 points, and then we fucking do nothing. That's why that one dude probably commented and was like, oh, John doesn't call fucking trades. He just, talks about a bunch of random shit. Well, on days like today, yeah, probably. Probably. Chanda from India. Very nice. What time is it for India right now? According to my YouTube analytics, my biggest viewership is the US. I would hope, that your own country would, you know what I'm saying? The second, I think, is Germany, and third, I think, is UK. But I do know that we have some folks from Nigeria and India and from other places too. I can't remember, but there's a lot. GU was flying this morning. Yeah, it was. 11:28 p.m. That's not terrible for trading indices. But the evening time is our stock exchange open. That would be pretty good though. That'd be pretty good. And the reason I say that is because you could have your day job during the day, and then you could trade the US markets in the evening time. That's what I would do. I mean, if I had to do that, that's what I would do. It's 7 p.m. in Nigeria. That's even better. That's even better. I would work in the morning and maybe the afternoon, and then the evening time, I would need to be home for the stock exchange open. That'd be so sick. That'd be the best schedule ever. Work during the day, trade in the evening. Oh yeah, life would be pretty good. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do that. I had to do both. When I was in the Navy, I had to be at work on my phone, getting in trouble, trying to trade. So it was difficult. But it was worth it. I would do it again. I wouldn't want to, but I would do it again. All right. Anyway, we'll give this a little bit more time. I'll give you a quick update on what I did yesterday. I did post this on my story, but I wanted to have this here for YouTube as well. I met a friend yesterday. We had coffee, and she didn't want tacos. So she was like, hey, do you want to go to the bookstore? I'm like, is that even a fucking question? Let's go. So we went to the bookstore, and I picked up 2 books I already had, but I gave them away. I always give away like the best books. I don't give away the shitty ones, So I bought a replacement copy of How Successful People Think by John Maxwell. Goated book. And the 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader, also a great book. This one I gave to a friend of mine because he's actually a very high ranked person in his company. Well, both of them. He worked for a previous company. He was high up there, and then he basically got the same position at another company, which is very high up. So I know he's a leader, so I gave him that one a few years ago. And then I went to the philosophy section, and of course, they didn't have a lot of what I was looking for, but they did have a book called The Consolations of Philosophy. So they did have this by Alain de Botton, or Button. I'm actually not sure, but it sounds French. But anyway, so the lows here that we talked about on the small time frame, it looks like that's been met right now. So we'll see how we react there. Some short-term liquidity on that 1 minute time frame. That's not a surprise, is it? Is that a surprise? Is that a surprise, or were we anticipating that? Again, confidence, right? The ability, the skill set. Now, I didn't trade that per se, but again, it's, you know, expecting price to do certain things. If it wants to go higher, okay, it'll probably go lower first, right? Well, what's it going to go lower for? Trailing stops. So we do see that here. Now, again, if we're still going to be bullish, though, we would really need a nice reaction from this low to signify that this is a stop run, versus if we look at a higher time frame, like, okay, if we're bearish on the day, we have equal lows down here, which the market could attack. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take the black lines off. You guys already know that that's that daily gap from Thursday and Friday, I think, of last week or the week prior, whatever. And that's the only way I'd be wrong from going up, is if we attack the lows here. So I think it is going to depend on how we react. All right. Dow's pulling back a little bit, not significantly, but it is pulling back a little bit. Okay. My computer froze there for a second. Can you guys still hear me? Can we do sound check? Can you, can you mode that too? Can you drop a 1? Drop a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me. Please. Let me know, let me know. All right, let's try that again. Do I still sound like a robot? Sorry. Okay, that's better. I don't know what happened. Smart money was attacking us, man. They're like, yeah, don't let them get the good entry, man. Don't let them. You know, the Matrix attacking Andrew, the fucking smart money is attacking me, right? Sound like an AI? Yeah, I'm the algorithm. Right? The algorithm was attacking me. It was Mr. Smith coming for my ass. He was like, nah, don't let him. Don't let him get away with it. But it's cool. Wouldn't it make sense to go a little lower to create the next leg going up? Fib logic, where it's at, wouldn't make sense since we usually look for 618 or 50% level to enter. Well, my friend, that depends on which logic you are referring to, because measurements can be taken from, well, really just about anywhere. And if we have liquidity up here and this low, this imbalance is below this 50%. And right now, that's giving a pretty solid reaction on a 15-minute time frame. So this would technically be a discount imbalance. Now, I'm not going to say this is a mitigation, but I mean, you could argue that that's almost a mitigation right there too. And this is what it always sends it in the front. So you even have something like that. So if it were me, what I would do is definitely watch it and see kind of what we do from here. But for studying purposes, I would also take a screenshot too. I'm going to take a screenshot. Then we'll, after the close, we'll see what happens. But, so we see some lows there on the S&P being swept a little bit. The Dow not having as much of a retracement. The Nasdaq, I think you see this short-term low here, right there being swept. So again, we'll have to see. Consolidation, manipulation, and then probably run higher is still what I would anticipate. If this runs, I think this would be our low for the afternoon. But it would probably have to take off. I'd have to show some evidence. Some evidence. And yeah, if something's blurry or static, just refresh. Unless it's on my end. If it's on my end, then yeah, I'll do what I can. But if it's something that's on your end, you just have to refresh, okay? So what I would do if it were me, can we pull up both? Yeah. Now, since I can only show you guys one screen at a time, I would have a 5-minute and a 15. The 15, I'd probably scrunch up a little bit. Like this, and then I'd watch the 5-minute time frame just like this. We haven't done that in a while, but that's what I would do for the rest of the afternoon. I'll leave that like that. The 5-minute, how it is, and that's what I'd watch. All right. So, with that being said, I think we spent some time here and we discussed a few different ideas. I gave you guys some books that I just got. 2 of them I've already read. They're just replacements, but I'm going to read them again. How Successful People Think by John Maxwell is actually the first book I ever read cover to cover in one day. I went to Starbucks a few years ago and I sat down and I read this book in about 4 hours straight. So I didn't take notes on it. That was when I was reading prior to me taking notes on what I was reading. Dumb move, but you live and you learn. So I am going to reread this one. I'm already taking notes on it. And I showed you the other ones, and that's going to be it. Okay, so I give you what to look for, at least what I think is going to happen. If I'm wrong, you guys already know what to expect. So be mindful and learn something. All right, get some experience under your belt, and we'll follow up tomorrow with what's taking place today. All right, so that being said, y'all be blessed. Have an amazing rest of your evening, afternoon, day, morning, whatever it is. All right, we'll be here same time, same place tomorrow for more stuff.